All right, good morning. Thank you for joining Downtown New Jersey for another Downtown Management Forum. Today we're talking about farmers markets in the new normal. And we have two of the early communities that have already set up and run at least one farmers market so far. Rachel Sieg is the executive director of the historic downtown SID in Jersey City, who is doing keeping up with the traditional walk up style farmers market. And she's going to tell you about how they're keeping that safe and managing that. And then Rebecca Hersh, who's the executive director of Main Street Highland Park. They've transitioned to a drive-through farmers market, so she'll let you know how that works. Real quick, just need my screen to advance. There we go. For those of you who don't know downtown New Jersey, we are a member-supported nonprofit education and advocacy organization. So if you're not a member, please do consider joining us. That support is what helps me to do these forums and keep the website up to date and all that. We provide education through, technical assistance, newsletters, roundtables, and Zooms like this. And we also have an annual conference. We also advocate for good policy, both by informing our members of legislation and policy initiatives that may impact them, as well as providing testimony. And finally, we like to recognize our members through quarterly member spotlights, the annual awards, and sharing the good things you're doing on social media. We have next week's forum is already set up, and there are more to come. Next week, we're going to talk about ordinances and making sure that your rules enable businesses to come back, reopen in recognition of social distancing. And all the past forums are listed there. There are summaries for all but last week, still working on the summary of that one, and videos up for them. So if you want to catch up, by all means, check it out on our website. And we also have already preemptively decided that we are going to go to a virtual conference this year as opposed to in real life. So save Friday, October 23rd for that. So without further ado, let's get started on our farmers market presentation, and we are going to start with Rachel, who's going to fill you in on how they're making it work.
Hi everyone. So I think since March or April, I was told by the health department that a lot of changes were going to be made. I have our farm market at the Grove Street Plaza. There I think, had over 35 vendors each market. I was told by the city that, basically we can only have farm fresh foods. So meaning our 3 farms, anyone that sells meat, pickles. So I really was going down from 30 to 10 vendors. I had several Zoom meetings with my vendors because I'm in a plaza. I'm where people are coming off the PATH station. So I was told, you had to do social distancing, pre-orders, no animals at the market, just a lot of rules that we had to go by. So our first market was on Monday, and I have to say it went pretty well. The pre-ordering, the vendors really liked. There was a lot of vendors. We actually have online shopping from our website. You could pre-order ahead. And I think we had over 60 people order online, meaning ordering pickles, vegetables. So all they had to do when they got to the market, there was 2 lines, one if you didn't pre-order and one if you did. So that worked out very well. And as you could see in the pictures, Ort Farms, where the cones are, that worked out really well because people, there was taped mark where they're 6 feet away from each other, and then they would stand in line. And then the farms are actually, they're very organized, where you go up, you tell them what they want. They have the mask on, they have mask on, they have gloves on, and they take the product and put it in the bag for you. So, with the Plaza, there was, on a normal day, before this was going on, there would be over 15,000 people coming off the train. So we definitely didn't have that, but we did have a good crowd, and we also used barricades around the Plaza. So if you wanted to come into the Plaza and, purchase food, you would have to wear a mask. I did have a huge staff. I had, I would say, 8 people that day. And it definitely helps either having volunteers or staff working the market. I can hear you. It's all mute.
I'm late.
I'm sorry, now I can hear you. Oh no, now he's mute.
There we go. What I was gonna say is let's jump to Rebecca to talk about theirs, and then we'll open it up to discussion and Q&A. So Rebecca, if you are ready, I'm gonna unmute you. There you go.
Okay. Hi. So we had a pretty similar situation to Jersey City. We were planning to, so we have our farmers market is on a municipal parking lot in the middle of town. It's pretty big. There's no parking on the lot on market days. And we were hoping, we came up with a very elaborate plan to keep the market as, to let people come and look at the food and make purchases at the market. We had, one point of entry. We bought an outdoor sink for a washing station. We were going to make people just walk along a route. We were only going to let a certain number of people in at a time. No dogs, no kids, no, none of the fun stuff that we usually have, like music. But then, so we came up with this very elaborate plan to have a regular market, but very safe. But then in meetings with the police and the county emergency management people, they were basically like, you can't even do that. It's gonna have to be cashless, pre-order only. So that's what we ended up, we had to scramble. Our first market was Friday, May 1st. So we had about 2 weeks to totally change our plan. And also to get the vendors, because most of the vendors don't even have online ordering. So we had to really hold their hands, help them get their online ordering system set up. Some of them are using their own system. Some of them already have their own system. Some created new ones themselves. Some are taking phone orders. Some have signed up to be part of the local line system. I don't know if Jersey City is using that at all, but it's a program through Edible Jersey. It's a website, and it allows vendors to set up online ordering for New Jersey farmers markets if they don't have their own site themselves already. So we have, the first week, the police said we could have 6 vendors. And now this Friday, we're slowly ramping up. We're up to 8. And the other thing is that they wouldn't let us do, and this really, I'm a city planner, so this really got me. They said we couldn't have walk-ups. It had to be drive only, which sort of broke my heart. But we are making it work. So people have to order online by Thursday morning and pay online. And then we converted the lot into a drive-up. So there's a map of the layout of the lot where you can see the vendors. They're all sort of in a loop. And you drive from one vendor to the next. You have your name your last name and your windshield, and you stop at the vendors that you ordered from, and they look at your name, and you pop your trunk, and they just put your order in your trunk. There's no contact, no paying or ordering at the market. So it's been a few weeks. It's working quite well. People place orders through, all the links to the vendors are on our website. So people go to the Main Street website and place their orders. Last week we had about 70 orders. Last week was our second week, I guess. So it's growing. The vendors are actually happy. We're not allowed to have all the vendors yet. We're going to have, like I said, we're going to have 8 this Friday. The police are making us ramp it up slowly. I'm hoping that later in the season we get to implement our original plan, which was to let people actually shop at the market in a safer way. And also, the one concession I did get from the police is that even though officially we say it's a drive-up market, if people walk up, we don't turn them away. We still let them pick up their orders on foot. So we're just not really allowed to promote that, but if you don't want to drive, you can still walk up. So we keep it on the down low. Let's see what else. I guess that's pretty much it. So hopefully later in the season we will be able to have more vendors and have a little bit more shopping at the market. But right now we're not taking cash, and the vendors don't want to take cash. I mean, the vendors are spooked too, so we can't force people to do something that they feel is unsafe. And the one issue that we are struggling with is our market accepts food pantry vouchers from the Highland Park Food Pantry, and also we have special food vouchers issued by St. Peter's Hospital, who's one of our partners on the market. And we are trying to figure out how to accept the vouchers because they are usually used as cash, and we don't know how to take cash yet. I think what we're moving toward, and also a lot of the people who use the vouchers don't have computers, or they only have their phones, and they can't place orders online anyway, and they don't have credit cards, and they need to use their vouchers. So we're thinking a way to get around that is to have people who use the vouchers just call Main Street, and we will place the orders for them and pay for them ourselves on our Main Street credit card, and then we will accept. And then they will drop off their vouchers when they pick up their food, and we will turn the vouchers in ourselves to the Highland Park Food Pantry or St. Peter's Hospital. It's a little complicated, but I really don't know how else to handle it. And the fact that we accept vouchers like that is something that we're really proud of in Highland Park. We don't, everybody should be able to get fresh food. So we don't want to be elitist and not have that program. So we're working on that. But
Rachel, I think
that's pretty much it.
Rachel, I think you guys are taking WIC and.
Yes, we take all 3 farms take WIC at our market, but they don't.
How do you handle that?
They actually have the city gives them it's like a card, like a debit card. Or it's like a ticket, and they give the ticket to the farm, and then the farm takes care of it.
That's a good idea. I like the debit card thing.
Yes.
Well, that's something that we could propose to our pantry partners. But
and Rebecca, you said that your vendors are happy. Rachel, how did your vendors feel about your first day?
So I haven't heard from anyone, which is, no news is good news. So I was very nervous. Our market was on Monday. Tuesday, I was very nervous to wake up. I didn't know, because it was a little chaos. Setting up, I had a photographer in my market, and he basically said it looked like, Halloween. It looked like Halloween because there was caution tape around all the tents.
Right.
So, I was a little nervous, but they seemed very happy, very busy, and no news is good news. So I'm thankful for that.
I have one question. Do you let some people order and pay at the market, or is it all pre-orders?
No, they can do either. So we do the
They
edible.
can do either right now.
Yeah, and we have that on our website, the edible Jersey City, the online
Right.
shopping, which we actually paid for our vendors. And they can actually.
Yeah, so do we.
Yeah, so they can do it either online, or they can either shop online or they can shop at the market. But we're really stressing, shopping at the market. I mean, buying online.
Right.
And Rachel, are they taking cash or only credit
They
card?
are taking cash, and they actually have one person working the line at the market, one person that's dealing with the register, and then they have several people working the line as far as pre-order online, and if you wanted to pick up your fruits and vegetables, they will also help you with that as well. So over the past several years, there was only 2-3 people underneath the tent at each farm working. Last Monday, I would say there were about like 10 people at each tent helping as much as possible.
Tom, you're off mute. Is that because you had a question, comment?
No, I'm just, we're
Okay.
totally confused. We were supposed to open May 7th. We're in every Thursday market. Our challenge is that we're in a park. So, and we're, because we're in Trenton, just about everybody who comes to our farm, I should say everybody who comes to our farmers market walks. So we don't have an opportunity, the park's not set up to have an opportunity where we can have a drive-in by any means. And we're a little bit fortunate that the state employees are still out right now because we won't open our market until they come back to work. So we have some time here to sort of figure out how to do that. But we're looking certainly at getting rid of cash. Our vendors really aren't too interested in still dealing in cash. But I'm just wondering, do you have for the markets that have people walking in, do you have a single entrance and a single exit that they come
Yeah.
through? And you have people at those entrances letting people in other words, so you let a bunch of people in at one time and then you sort of manage it as it goes?
Yes, and we also, another rule we had is if you're coming to the farmer's market and you're coming in, please make sure to get whatever you need because we don't want them coming back.
Right.
So come in, take your time. We don't want to rush you, but note that, once you're here and you leave, that's it.
Gotcha.
And Rachel, I thought you had said you were expanding to the other side of the street. Did you do that or did you?
Yeah, so we just started expanding to the Grove Pedestrian Mall to make room for our vendors. Now the vendors that were on it on Monday, they did not like that idea. They were, they didn't feel a part of the plaza, but I promised them that, I'm hoping in the next few weeks I can bring back more vendors. We are not allowed to have any kind of prepared foods like empanadas, anything on the go. But, I have a few plant guys that, sell plants. It's not even dealing with food that I would like to bring them back. So I'm hoping to add them to the mall area so it feels fuller.
Anyone else have questions, comments? You can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question.
Hi, I had a question. This is Lauren Erickson. I coordinate the New Brunswick Community Farmers Market, and we actually have markets in a couple different physical locations in the city, which are set up quite differently. And we're hoping to open June 20th. We normally open later in the season anyway, so we're kind of on track for our usual target. But a couple questions I had. The first was, are either of you working with accepting SNAP at your market, and how are you handling that, both with pre-orders, because as I understand it, we can't take SNAP payments online, but also for the walk-up market, if you're having any experience with that.
So we do accept SNAP, but our farms accept it. So we really don't have anything to do with it. And basically same thing with the WIC and the SNAP. Our farms are handling anything that has to do with that. But yes, we are accepting it.
We don't have any of our current vendors that accept SNAP. That might change soon, but it's like Jersey City said, it's just vendor by vendor. So right now they're not, but we're trying to change it.
Lisa, did you have a question?
I did. We run the Scotch Plains Farmers Market, Jeff and I, and actually our farmers are still, they're taking the WIC coupons because like Rachel said, that really doesn't have anything to do with us. They deal with the state in their own ways. We have not started yet. We usually start at the beginning of May. We are starting May 23rd, and we were debating between a drive-through, but we are going to be outside, just like Jersey City now, and now Summit is doing it, and Metuchen is doing it, and all of them, so we're following their lead. We're a little nervous. This is something new for us. We have a very big market. We're starting out with 13 to 15 vendors. But what you're saying is a lot of good information for us. We're going to have one entrance in, one exit out. What I'm trying to wonder is, the police want us to pay for extra police there. Is anybody paying for like extra police to be on duty? We're run by a private, like our business association, with just a small little group. So we're not really largely funded. So that's a big expense for us. So we're trying to see if we could just work with volunteers and not have so many police on duty to man this.
Yeah,
So we're not paying for private police. Well, the municipal police are helping mostly just for traffic control. That's all.
Okay.
and
Okay.
we're not
But we
either,
have it. Oh, go ahead.
we're not either. And I think you should tell them with enough staff or volunteers that it's really not necessary to have police.
That's
People
what we were thinking.
see when people come to the market that, I was really impressed by people at the Jersey City Farmers Market. They were wearing their gloves. They followed the rules. They stood in line. If you said you're too close to that person, they moved back. They just are happy that you're there. So having police, I don't think, before I did the market, I thought I was going to need police officers, but now that I just did it, at my market, I didn't need it.
Thank you. Thank you for that, because that makes me feel a lot better that we can go back to the town and relay that to them. Because first we were going to have 2 police officers and 3 special police officers, and maybe for the first week, yes, just to help us to get things going. But I think after that, like you said, I think people know what's required and what they need to do, and we will have volunteers there. So, after thinking about it a little bit, I am going to go back to the town and ask them if they can lean off on that just a little bit.
And I definitely recommend making signs. I had signs everywhere. Entrance, exit, you can't stand here. You could do, whatever it is, you could go online and order those signs. And some of the websites are actually giving away free signs.
Okay.
So like social distancing, and I taped them to the ground so people would see it. And
Right.
definitely lots of cones if you can get it.
Yes. Oh, no.
Cones
They're going
are
to rope
key.
off our whole thing. Or they're going to rope off our whole, because we've never closed our whole municipal lot. We only used to use half of it, and half of it for parking. Well, now it's just going to be all closed off for the vendors. That's it. So people will park hopefully elsewhere and just walk.
Hey, Rachel, who are some of those websites that are giving away signs? Do you know off the top of your
Yes,
head?
hold on one second. I'm sorry. Let me look on my phone. Actually, the Journal Square Market just asked me the same question. So
And while you're looking that up, Lauren did post, if you open up your chat, the Rutgers Cooperative Extension has some guidance for farmers markets as well.
Okay, thank
So
you.
that's in the chat, and we'll make sure that that gets into the final summary too.
So it's creativesafetysupply.com, firstaidandsafetyonline.com, and then info@gotprint.com.
Is it info with an @ like an @ sign, or AT spelled out?
AT.
At gotprint.com?
Yes.
Thank you. And a lot of these you said are giving for free, correct?
Yes. Yes. I got a few on there for free, and they're not expensive either.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments, ideas too, if you know, something you're thinking about for your markets?
I had something that we're thinking about. We in New Brunswick accept SNAP and also the WIC and senior vouchers as an authorized market. So for the paper vouchers, we were also trying to think through, you know, how to handle those or not handle them. And one thing that we're thinking about is just having basically a drop box for them, so that if people come with their vouchers on the vendor tables, they can kind of show the vendor that, you know, they have $5 or $10 or $15 worth of vouchers for their total. They drop it into the box, and then they get their produce. And then at the end of the market, someone can go through wearing gloves and sort of count through, or, you know, anything that needs to happen with those vouchers. It all lets them sort of sit for a certain amount of time. So if, you know, you wanted to try to use time as a disinfectant essentially, and let those vouchers stay in sort of a designated place for a week or whatever it is, and then process them and get to the bank, that might be another way to handle it.
Idea. Anyone else? You're not very chatty today, folks. Are we all getting tired of Zooms?
Yes.
All right, so if there's no other questions, comments, I think we are good for today. I want to thank Rebecca and Rachel for participating and being early guinea pigs too. In general, I think you're two of the earlier farmers markets to open up in the state, and hopefully, you know, that everybody's farmers markets are going to be a success for them. So there's nothing else. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks so much.
Feel free to email me if anyone has questions. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, guys. Yes, you can.